So you've decided to apply to dental school and you're thinking about taking the DAT exam. But you might be overwhelmed with the amount of materials that are available for you to study from. Well, I got some advice on some of the best materials coming for you right now. It's been a few years since I took the DAT, but upon looking at some of the resources that are available, I've come to find that some of the resources are really similar to the ones that I used when I took my DAT. In fact, some of these resources have been improved so that way they can meet your needs when you take the DAT. It's important to note that there are some websites like ADIA that recommend that you study for 3 to 4 months when you plan to take the DAT. Now, this might vary. If you are taking classes or are a full-time student, you might need a little bit longer if you're deciding to study during your school time. Or maybe you need a little less time. Maybe you can grasp the concepts a little bit quicker. You just need to find that sweet spot so that way you know the amount of time that you need to prepare before you take that exam. I think a good rule of thumb is 3 to 4 months, just so that way you can get all the material in and have some time to review it. You need to remember that the ADA lets you take the exam 3 times. If you take it once and want to take it again, you need to wait 90 days before you can take it again. After you have taken it 3 times, you do need to ask special permission to take it more than those 3 times. Let's talk about our first topic, biology. Biology is super broad and they can literally ask you almost anything. This was a subject that I kind of struggled with because I didn't really know where to focus in on. 2 resources that work really well and contain some really great content for you to review are Feralis's study notes and Cliff's AP biology notes. If you review these 2 resources, you'll be able to get a variety of content that will help you answer the questions on the DAT in the biology section. Chad's videos. These videos are truly phenomenal. They break things down step by step and show you different patterns for you to answer questions on the DAT. This was really a golden resource for me when I was studying these 2 topics. In fact, I would say that organic chemistry was one of my weaker subjects in college. But after reviewing Chad's videos, I felt pretty well equipped to answer a lot of the questions on the DAT. For the reading section. For me, what really helped me on the reading section was to practice different passages and find a technique that best worked for me. Using some of the Kaplan resources, I was able to go through different passages and find a technique that worked best for me. For me, what worked best was going through the passage and writing down keywords and what paragraph they were in, so that way when I went and answered questions, these keywords could help spark and remind me where that information was in that particular paragraph. So once I had those keywords listed on my scratch sheet of paper, I could quickly reference them and go to the area where I could answer specific questions on the DAT. Now, this technique may not be the right one for you. Practicing the reading section will really help you find what works best for you. PAT. Practice, practice, practice. Find some questions that you can put your practice in. The more you see, the more you'll be able to kind of understand the different techniques that you will see on the DAT exam. One of the great resources for this is DAT Bootcamp, and I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. The math section. For some people, this is their highest section. For others like myself, who really struggled, this one was one of the hardest sections. I knew that I needed to get my timing right where I could go through the questions, read them, understand them, and work them out. Math isn't my forte, but what really helped me was a math destroyer. I did have some help and got a tutor for the math section, which really helped me. So we would work some questions in the math destroyer until I understood the concept. This really helped me when it came to taking the math portion on the DAT. I still struggled, but it was a little bit better than I was doing before going through those questions. 2 resources I would really encourage you to look into are the DAT Destroyer and the DAT Bootcamp. DAT Destroyer has some really tough questions in there, but if you can get through that and review that a few times, you'll be solid for the DAT exam. But make sure when you're going through those questions that you understand the concepts. If you're not understanding the concepts to the particular question, you need to go back and review it so you can understand why you're missing that question and get a greater understanding of that concept. DAT Bootcamp. This was a resource that was a little bit newer when I was taking the DAT, but it is full of a lot of content and a lot of practice questions that you can go through. After the questions, it has an explanation that will help you review the concepts. In addition, Ari, the founder, has a study guide that you can follow. It is really important for you to have a schedule in mind when you go and study for the DAT. Without having a schedule and kind of going in blindly, you might be a little bit scattered in your study time. Following a schedule like what Ari has will really help you plan out your time for study. These are all really good resources. There are a lot more online, and you can find others that might be suitable to your learning style, but these are the ones that I really think are high value and high yield. Make sure you get a lot of practice questions in. Doing a time will help you manage your time, and you can see how much time you need to limit yourself per question. You'll come to find that time goes really quick when you're going through these questions, so you need to find that balance so that way you're prepared when you take the DAT exam. One of the best tips that I can give for you is to put your time in to study and to be calm when you go and take the exam. It can be really nerve-wracking when you go in and take the DAT, but if you take your time and know that you put in all that hard work, you're going to do great. If for whatever reason you don't get the score that you were hoping, that's okay. Take a step back and look at the areas you need to improve. Take a break, develop a schedule, and hone in on those specific areas so that way you can do better the next time around. If you have any questions about the DAT, I'd be glad to help you. Make sure you leave a comment below or feel free to contact me. Thank you, and join me next time for another video.